Step down, pull his arm out, push him to his head, hit, immediately run like a switch, hit, and then pull back, strike back.
What if, in a split second, your safety or the safety of your loved ones depended entirely on you? Would you be ready? The truth is, many self-defense programs, the ones that claim to teach you how to defend yourself in these life or death situations, are unproven in real-world conditions. They are often focused on sport application or artistic movement that fail under the demands of the real world of violence. They don't teach you how to handle the reality of knife attacks and street assaults. There is a disproportionate emphasis on style and form over function and practicality. We've also seen systems that promise quick fixes and life-saving techniques without a proven process to develop the necessary skills that are critical to actually apply them under stress. The reality is far too many martial arts systems are out of date, impractical, and even dangerous for real-world application. From my experience working in the streets as a police officer and SWAT operator, I've seen firsthand how most martial arts fall short when you need them most. The techniques might look great in the dojo, but in the real world, they fail. But what if there was a better way? What if you could gain the skills used by the most elite police, military, and executive protection units around the world, the very same tactics I've been teaching to these professionals for over 2 decades? The TriCom system is the most complete and well-rounded combatives program available, designed for real-world, high-pressure scenarios adopted by some of the world's most trusted fighting forces. Several years ago, we made modules of this program available on an online platform. Today, we are on the cusp of launching it as a subscription platform so that you can train from the fundamentals to advanced levels on an ongoing basis, anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. It's not about fancy moves or memorizing endless techniques. It's about simplicity, adaptability, and efficiency. And I'm here to tell you that the sooner you realize this, the faster you'll be able to protect yourself and those you love. I'm Wihongi, founder of the TriCom system, and I've helped thousands of individuals like police officers, military personnel, and self-defense enthusiasts gain the skills they truly need. And now we're opening up this training to even more of you with a revolutionary new way to train through our TriCom Grading program. Here's the thing. Most combatives training today focuses on systems that require years of practice and memorization. But if you're serious about defending yourself, time is a luxury you can't afford. With TriCom, we've streamlined the process so that you can learn fast, retain easily, and be effective in real-world situations. I'm not just talking about theory. These are the techniques I've used in some of the most dangerous environments possible. The TriCom system is trusted by elite forces worldwide, and it works because it's built on what's proven, not what's popular. Too many systems promise effective self-defense, but take years to master, requiring you to learn hundreds of techniques you'll never use. That's not what TriCom is about. We focus on the most essential skills, the ones you'll need to protect yourself in any high-stakes situation. Have you ever felt frustrated by so-called self-defense systems that just didn't work when it counted? Have you ever trained for years in a martial arts system only to realize that when the real thing happened, you froze or were caught off guard? The goal of TriCom is not to show you what I have been successful in doing, but rather teach you what you are capable of doing.
All right, brother. Sorry, we had to cut that short. We're going through some technical issues here. Welcome.
Thank you. We're live.
yeah, we are live.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, real quick. What is the TriCom system, and why are people from the Pikiti Tersha Tactical Association Facebook page watching this video?
Okay, well, yeah, I'll start with the first question. TriCom, Triangle Combatives, is a culmination of I mean, honestly, it's a life's work. The program began. I began putting this program together 22 years ago when I was a full-time police academy instructor. But honestly, I was putting it together based on knowledge that I had gained in my life prior to that, which included, at that point in my life, 2 decades of martial arts training. And experience before I was a police officer. I worked as a doorman at a nightclub in Hawaii for a while, getting the opportunity to test stuff that I had been training. I had been a street cop, a SWAT operator. So it's this culmination of work that went into this program, and the program began 22 years ago, but it's gone through constant evolutions as I've strived to improve the program over 22 years. So it's a self-defense program that really, it really is for everyone. I mean, but not, and I'm not just saying that, not just based on who it could be for, but if you look at the gamut of people that I've trained in this program, from tier 1 special operators in the military to SWAT teams to presidential security teams, close protection teams. Just last week, I was teaching a youth self-defense class for teenagers, boys and girls. It's what's appropriate for women's self-defense, concealed firearm permit holders, you name it. I've probably trained people in that category, and it really is so modular and expansive that it has application for all of these different areas. Second question with regards to the Pikiti Tersha Tactical says, why are people from Pikiti Tersha watching this? Well, my primary martial arts background is Pikiti Tersha Kali. That's my roots. That's where I've had the most experience. Having said that, I've trained multiple martial disciplines from, in over the course of the last 40 years. And so I've, Pikiti Tersha is, you could say it's the nucleus, it's the core of TriCom, where I've used the methodology of this multi-faceted martial art to kind of like like I said, that core that kind of binds everything together with regards to different weapons, tactics, ground fighting. I've looked at martial arts and combat systems that specialize in areas and pull together. But Pikiti Tersha Tactical Association is really, Pikiti Tersha Kali is really the core of TriCom.
What benefit might somebody this is actually a twofold question. If somebody has already enrolled or purchased some of the modular offerings of TriCom, what benefit do they have in transitioning over to the subscription platform? And also, if you can speak to the people who are already subscribed to Pikiti University, what benefit does the new TriCom grading system have for them? I'm sure a lot of people want to know that.
Yeah, so the roots of TriCom were a modular system, meaning it was divided into very specific topics. Example could be edge weapon defense, weapon retention, ground survival. And it was designed that way because with my roots coming from law enforcement military training, that's how people in those areas of all those professions typically learn. They go to a course that's typically very specialized. Sometimes it could cover several of those topics, but they're very topic specific, and that way people can focus on what they actually need to learn to supplement what they already have or so forth. And rather than having to kind of just try and learn a full system, which may be a lot of redundancy there based on what they already trained. So that's how I was originally trained. What this new program is I've taken all of these different modules that we've, or at least as many as we've been able to have the time to capture on film, which is a lot. And we've taken all these modules and we've combined it together into one system. So people can learn all of these modules in a kind of a step-by-step process, from the fundamentals to advanced techniques. And it gives them an opportunity to learn the entire TriCom system, a full and robust self-defense system. And benefits for people from Pikiti University that are looking at this. Pikiti Tersha Kali, Pikiti University focuses on the art of Pikiti Tersha Kali. And so we try to keep some of the purity of that there, more the traditional methodology and techniques within the art of Pikiti Tersha Kali. which is a beautiful art. I love it. It's, again, I've dedicated much of my life to it. But it's a lot of times what we train there is not specific to, the more common self-defense situations. You're learning a lot of skills, just like, if you train really any traditional martial art, in reality, you may only use a few of the actual things that you train. But it's taking a deep dive into a particular martial art that really it hones those skills that teach you advanced stuff, but allow you to get really good at those fundamentals. So the difference with that and TriCom is, again, it's specifically designed to teach people in a short period of time fundamental skills of self-defense, going straight to the point of it's built on probabilities. What are the highest probability types of attacks we might face? How do we avoid getting into those situations to begin with? What are the high probability types of attacks? What are high probability techniques that work against those attacks, and focusing more on that more practical element than the expanse of a particular traditional martial art.
So I already know the answer to this, but I'm sure people want to know, like, how much is this going to cost? Is there a free or a trial? Is there a monthly? Is there an annual? What do you get when you first sign up to the
so it's this, it really is a deal. And I'm not just saying that. As I put this together and realized how little we're charging based on how much people are getting, it really is, it's a steal. But at the same time, we want to make sure that as soon as someone signs up, they can see the scope of what this covers, and then it gets added to constantly over time. So it's we have two memberships. We've got the silver and the gold. The silver membership gives people access to the first 2 of 4 levels, and then gold membership gives people access to all 4 levels. Each level is organized into 4 tiers. So 4 tiers and 4 levels. We've got a total of 16 tiers throughout the system of training. And as soon as someone signs up, say, for example, for a gold membership, they will be getting access immediately to over 160 videos right away. And these are videos that cover several topics of self-defense. And then over the next, the content really goes over a couple of years, but after their initial videos, every week or every 8 days, people will, because it's actually divided into 4-day increments. Every 8 days, people will get 2 new videos in the silver membership or 4 new videos in the gold membership. And it's to organize people's training. So, okay, they've got this baseline, and then we'll start filling in, okay, we're going to get deeper into tier 1, and that's deeper into tier 2, deeper into tier 3, and so on and so forth. So it helps people to organize their training so they're not just jumping all over the place. So it's a lot of content. Honestly, we're giving people more than I think your average person is going to train and to kind of get proficient at. So it'll keep people busy. It's a lot of material, and people can, the gold membership is an additional I think $15. So I think it goes from $29 to $49. Yeah. So $29 for silver, $49 for gold monthly. Or we've had a lot of people that have decided just pay for the yearly membership, which actually gives them 2 months free. So it's $290 for silver, $490 for they pay for 10 months, they get 12. And so there's a lot of people have taken that option also. And like I said, for what they're getting in that material, it's a lot of value.
So people sign up for it and they get something like 160 videos. That's a lot of training videos. Realistically speaking, if they were to put some effort into actually learning the material, they sign up for the first month, they get this chunk. How long would it take appropriately to train that material?
I mean, the way we've organized it, if people actually want to go through the grading, is that they could be eligible to test each tier in 3-month increments, which means for all 4 tiers in one level, it would be a year. And that's honestly, that's if someone is really buckling down and getting in, a couple of training sessions a week at least, and to really get the material, because we don't want people to just watch a video, learn a technique, and move on. That doesn't make you good at fighting. That doesn't make you good at self-defense. Yeah. We all, those who really understand, it's not just in self-defense, combat sports, but it's an athletic principle in general that the mother of skill is repetition. And it's not about just learning something. We're hoping people are going to just, train it, get the repetition in. And so that's what our expectation. And we hope that we see that when people come for grading, that, hey, I didn't just learn the technique, I actually trained it. And it's pretty obvious for someone with an eye for this stuff to see that. It could, if someone's really training consistently, they could get through a level in a year. We also have these fast track programs that we are going to be announcing, where people that, if you've got a lot of experience in the martial arts, you'll pick up the stuff potentially a lot quicker. We have, for example, we've got a lot of ground self-defense stuff. So if you're, got a background in wrestling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, something of that nature, you'll pick up that stuff really fast. And so, and then, so on and so forth, the striking stuff, the weapon stuff. So someone that's got a good background in the martial arts will pick up a lot of the material much faster. So we have these fast track programs where people can grade faster through if they're prepared for it. And so it really just depends on the level of if you're starting from scratch, it may take you longer than a year to get through each level.
For people who have already purchased some of the modular offerings of TriCom, is there a discount for them? Because I imagine much of this material will be extracted from those specific modules now presented in this, simultaneous grading system. Exactly.
So, in fact, a good chunk of the curriculum is from the modules. Obviously, we're teaching the modules in an organized manner. So, but there is also a lot of exclusive content, because not only are we teaching people the fundamentals of each module, but we're giving them advanced drills to enhance their training. Right. This is a 4-year program. For someone that's just starting in this type of a thing, as opposed to each module, the base level people can train in a couple of days. Right. And I'm talking about good solid 6 to 8 hour days, but a base module someone could learn in that time. This is a 4-year thing. So we've given people more drills to enhance their abilities in each of the modules. So there's a lot of exclusive content, but there is also material from the standard modules. So people that do own some of the what we call premium courses, which is that expanded package in the different modules, or people that have purchased the TriCom fundamentals program, which is, again, it's a 12-week program. Those people are eligible for some good significant discounts with this particular grading system.
Tell us about why this is valuable for martial arts instructors.
Yeah, I mean, if you're, and I'll give you an example. We have of one of our master instructors for TriCom. He is based in Brazil. He's a 3rd or 4th degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's crew level in Muay Thai. He's a firearms instructor. He's a guru in Pikiti Tersha Kali, very well-rounded martial artist. And he's actually will be coming soon with a work visa to be a full-time instructor at a Gracie Barra school in Texas. And his intent, because TriCom is such a well-rounded program and he has the background, a credible background to teach it, his intent is to actually teach a TriCom course at his school, because, again, he's going to be teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but for a program that's more well-rounded, weapons, counter weapons, stand-up striking, things of that nature, self-defense based focus, he'll be teaching TriCom as a sub-program at the school that he plans that he'll be working at. So there's for instructors, not only does it give them a program that they could actually teach, but also it will deepen their knowledge in areas that they may not have had a chance to study yet.
Yeah, because there is a lot to cover. There's utilization of weapons. There's defense against various weapons platforms, clinch, striking, ground fighting, all of those things. Was it difficult to sort of bring this together in a way that's cohesive and that would make sense? Follow-up question to that is, what if I am somebody who lives in a country where we're not allowed to carry weapons with us? To what benefit might the weapons portions of this course be valuable to them?
Yeah. So first question about kind of how difficult it was to combine this all together. It was a big task. I'm not going to lie. It's been literally probably from concept to launch this past weekend. It's been, I'm going to say, a couple of years where we've just kind of put thought into how we're going to do this. The hard part was actually building a curriculum that made sense as far as putting everything together into a cohesive progression. So it's been a lot of work. I'm not going to say I don't have experience in that, because actually when I was a police academy instructor, I was chief use of force instructor for the police department where I was working, and I had to put together police academy programs. And if you think about a police defensive or police academy program, police officers need to learn a lot of this stuff, right? They got to learn, well, at least in the program that I developed, which is TriCom here, they had to learn how to use their limbs for striking, for strikes, checks, and distractions, what we call natural impact weapons. They had to learn self-defense technique. They had to learn to survive if they end up on the ground. They had to learn to protect their gun and the holster in their hand. They learned knife defense. They had to learn how to use a baton, how to use a taser, and the list goes on. And so, and not to mention the firearms programs. So putting these programs, very multi-dimensional programs together, is not something new to me, but this is a much bigger undertaking because this full TriCom curriculum is so robust. I forgot your second question already.
I think you answered it.
Okay.
How difficult it was and what benefit might this program, actually, maybe you didn't.
Oh, the weapons side. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we in this program we address specific weapons. Okay, there's long and short impact weapons. The long impact weapon we call expandable baton. The short impact weapon we call fist-loaded weapons or short impact weapons. And then there's edge weapons. We address an EDC, everyday carry size knife, and even a karambit, which is a popular EDC defense tool in places where it's legal. And so we do address specific weapons, but the thing is, weapons are the great force multiplier, right? A 100-pound woman with a weapon can successfully defend herself against a 300-pound muscle-bound steroid-filled individual. The type of weapon may, and that's a truth, and so we get weapons are the great force multiplier. And so we want people to learn how to use weapons. Again, we want people to be obviously responsible legally with what you carry, what you use for defense, and when and where you use that tool for defense. We don't address that because every country and even different states within here in the United States are going to have different laws with regards to those legalities, right? So, when and where it's legal, we want people to be not only trained in how to use them, but where it's not legal for any of that, right? Improvised weaponry, things that may be just around you. It could be, like I always tell people in my day bag, I have a pen and a flashlight, things I use all the time as EDC tools, but they can be effective, weapons of opportunity. But when you learn the tactics we teach in the weapon stuff, you'll be capable of using anything in your hand effectively as a weapon.
Can you give me sort of like a bird's eye view of the journey that somebody might go through if they sign up today? What do they look like 5 years from now? Are there in-person training opportunities? Who grades them? What value does their rank and grade have in relation to, let's say, a black belt in Aikido or something like that? Like, what is your broad vision for the TriCom grading program?
Well, I kind of stand by my opinion that this program is one of the, if not the most multi-dimensional self-defense program around. And there may be others that are equal to it, but we pretty much cover everything. And so someone that honestly trains the material, right, and not just looking for a rank, but they want an honest rank and to honestly train the material, they will without a doubt be a very well-rounded protector in self-defense. We cover everything, elements of everything. And what we don't cover, we have these principles that we believe that if people adhere to in a self-defense situation, adhere to the principles, short of maybe having trained for that exact situations, they'll be able to prevail in their outcome, where it greatly increases their probabilities of survival. And so, yeah, that's without a doubt, this is one of the, and then what will happen when someone's completed the first couple of years of this is we will actually be adding content to this so that people can say, okay, I want to take a deeper dive into, say, the edge weapon side of this. And so we will be adding material to help people to even progress past that 4th level, black belt type of a progression. Testing opportunities, we've got opportunities all around the world between our master instructors that are around, and plus online opportunities where certain levels will be, people will be able to do their grading online if they don't have opportunities to grade in person. Other levels will have to be presential. And so we will be setting up opportunities in North and South America, in Asia, in Europe, and places where people can travel to get that grading in the levels that they're not able to do they can't do online. Because we don't want this to be, there'll be a lot of value lost if we do all the grading online. So we want to make it convenient, but we want to make sure people are actually getting that hands-on touch with an instructor, at least, at certain points of their progression.
I'm getting some comments from some Brazilians. You have quite a community, a stronghold in Brazil over there. Can you talk to us about some of the international units that have received TriCom training over the years?
Yeah, so temos bastante estudante lá em Brasil, o país da minha mulher e o país do meu coração. So we have a lot of great students in Brazil and all over the world, and I'm not going to start naming all the countries because I'm going to I'll leave some out, and I don't want anyone to feel left out. But we have a great foothold in a lot of countries around the world, and we've down in Brazil, just worldwide. I've worked with presidential security teams throughout the last 20 years in the Philippines, in South Korea, here in the United States. And so and there's another, and in Brazil, presidential security team. So we've worked with, for 12 years, I was contracted with U.S. Army Special Forces groups and covert operation units to provide, training for during the global war on terrorism. So, there's this big long list, and I could just go on and on with these lists. Yeah. Navy SEALs in South Korea, teams that I'm not allowed to mention in public. And so there's, and everything, like I said, down to last week, I was with teenage boys and girls, teaching them the ins and outs of self-defense.
Yeah, you got a lot of challenge coins behind you, and some that I know I was just there last week that we can't see. So yeah, I'm not going to make you go through the list. I know people can go to jaredwihongi.com, click on the About, and then they're able to see some of the clients you've served with the TriCom system over the years. So one of the questions here, I believe, is about, there's a disparity between the US dollar and different currencies from Brazil, maybe some developing nations. Is there anything that this program offers as far as that is concerned?
Yeah, we do. I'm very sensitive to that because, again, I work in a lot of developed nations and a lot of developing nations, developing countries. And so we're sensitive to those nuances. We've priced this program to be very affordable, but at the same time, we are still going to offer significant discounts to residents of developing countries, right? And it's pretty easy to find it in the indexes of developing countries online. But those that are members of developing countries, this is something that we're replicating from our Pekida University model, because we want people that live in those countries to have access to this training. So we have significant discounts, very significant discounts, to people that do reside in those in developing countries. Just send us a message on ideally email, but through one of our social media outlets. Send us a message. We'll get you details on how to avail of that discount.
So I know that there are going to eventually be specialist tracks for the TriCom grading system for law enforcement, military, close protection, corrections, concealed carry permit holders. Can you talk to us about the future of that, or what the vision is for that?
Yeah. So what we've launched now is what we call the core curriculum. As I said, very robust, between 500 and 600 videos in total. That and a lot of these videos are progressions in a particular drill or technique, but there's a lot of material. And sorry, I lost my train of thought. So,
yeah, specialist tracks for people like
so these specialist tracks.
I'm very concealed here in Canada. I'm not a cop. I'm not a soldier, but I'm not a corrections officer. But maybe in the future there will be some of this.
And I'm looking behind my camera here at the actual specialist track outline. We will be actually launching that, publishing it in probably the next week here. But basically, it includes specialist tracks for people that are in particular categories that want to enhance their knowledge in that area. And I'll give you an example. One of them will be a woman's self-defense track, right? So we've got the core curriculum, but then we're going to have some special videos for considerations for females and women's self-defense. Law enforcement, we've got our core curriculum, which is relevant to them, but then we'll have these special topics that will be in their track. An example, weapon retention, close quarter gunfighting, we call CQ, close quarter firearms integration tactics, cuffing and searching, things like that. A close protection, track for specialists in executive close protection type jobs. Concealed firearms permit holders, right? If I'm a civilian, what extra material could I learn that might be relevant to me if I legally carry a concealed firearm? We're even going to have a grappler's track, and that's basically, we have a good solid ground survival system in the core curriculum. But what if I wanted to take a deeper dive into the grappling side of things? Well, we're going to have a special track for people in that category also, and the list goes on for some of them.
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of this. Just one more thing. Maybe we've already gone through this. We've already answered it, but this sounds appropriate. Like there's something to be gained from absolute beginners to people who work under a professional capacity with lots of experience in martial arts and combatives training already.
Without a doubt, yeah. This program's, like I mentioned, it is a very robust program, so there is a lot to be learned for anyone. It's without a doubt, no matter what your experience is in martial arts and so on and so forth, there will be material here that will be beneficial to you. It's like I said, a lot of breadth and depth, right? I use that term a lot, but there's a lot of subcategories of modules, and each of them has got the fundamental material, the basic material. Then we get deeper and deeper into those topics.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. I think we're going to leave it at that, and we're going to depart by showing a sample video. Now, just keep in mind, this is one video out of hundreds, and it does belong to a progression, right? But I believe this is an introduction. Oh, there it is. Introduction to striking from attached positions for knife defense. If you could throw to this video, why are attached positions? What is it, and why is it important for people to learn?
Yeah, I mean, that's how much detail we get into with these courses. Like, when is striking appropriate when you're with regards to knife defense? And is it appropriate? When is it appropriate? And then we break that down. What if I'm not attached to the individual? They're just approaching me with that knife. Or what if now I'm attached to an individual in a weapons-based clinch, what we call a tactical clinch, a clinch that considers their access, their use of that weapon that's in their hand. And so when I'm attached in those positions, what strikes are effective? And then we get deeper in that by following up on, well, okay, I obviously, maybe something like an elbow would be effective. Well, how do I learn to effectively deliver an elbow? Not just like, do an elbow, but now let's just break that down. So this is going to show some of that, and then there's a lot more follow-up to instructionals on that.
Awesome. So we'll leave the audience with that. guys, enjoy this video. Just remember, it's part of a progression. And if you wanted to learn more, you guys can go to tricomtraining.com or suppose follow you on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Paulo, and thank you all for watching.
My pleasure. All right, take care. Here's the video.
Okay guys, so we're going to look at now our opportunities that you might find to deliver strikes in the process of defending against an edge weapon. Okay, and there are several points that you could look at that, but the one that we're going to look at is when we have gained attachment of the arm, okay, and we've been able to get in control of it. But at this point now, I've been able to succeed in getting to this point, the C, the contact and control, but I don't have the momentum, the balance that I'm looking for to facilitate one of my takedowns. If there's any kind of delay in that and I've lost that momentum, that might be the opportunity to strike. Now, my recommendation would be if I did have that momentum for a takedown, that's going to be my priority. Don't waste time striking when I can actually use the ground to deliver some trauma to him and with a dynamic takedown. Okay? But I've lost that momentum and I need to regain it somehow. I can start looking at strikes. Now strikes can achieve a couple of things. The trauma in and of itself could conceivably knock him out or hit him to the point that he's not unable to continue his fight. That would be best case scenario. At the very minimum, I'm trying to deliver some kind of a distraction, something that's going to create an opening for one of my takedowns. So I'm in this position. I want to be able to look at things and walk through things that I might be able to do. And so I want you to, when you drill from this position, kind of walk through some of those. I want to do it without relinquishing control of that arm. Okay? So a couple of things that I could be doing. I'm going to start from the top here. My head. Okay? Right here, I could be driving my head right into it, especially if his face is up looking at me. Then I could drive this front part of my head right into his face right there. Okay? I don't want to do this type of motion right there because if I do that and he drops his head towards me, then I might end up taking the worst part of that. So drop the head and just drive forward right there. That's one that I might be able to do. Now let's go down to the other side, down to the feet. Okay, with my feet, I might be looking at, it depends on the position of his legs. If the other leg was forward like that, this might present me the opportunity to do some kind of a cross stomp, where I'm just lifting up and kicking to the inside of his knee. Okay, I might be stomping my foot right there, foot stomps, cross stomp right there to the inside of that leg. So the feet can be used to deliver some strikes also depending on my position. If his foot was further back, then I might be looking at the opportunity to just drive my shin right up into the groin too. So I need to kind of quickly assess what my targets might be down here. As I come up the leg to the knees, I'm going to put that foot back where it was originally. Position like this, I might be looking at driving my knee into the side of his knee, or even this knee right into the side of his knee. So as I do that, I might be wanting to switch, boom, drive that there, drive that here. If his face was low enough, I might even be able to hook here and drive that knee right up into the face in that position here. Even if I don't do that, that's just going to help stabilize that so I can deliver a little bit more trauma. Even in the absence of that, I might be able to still drive a knee up there and just catch him with a good strike to the face. So I've got the feet, the knees. Just kind of walk up to the arms, what I might be able to do here. So a couple things. One, on my entry, I may have already delivered that strike here, but I may see the opportunity to just do that again, bang, right up here, either with my knuckle right under the nose, or I may be able to stick my fingers into his eyes here to get a distraction. So those are some possibilities. I might be also able to come down from the same hand and bang, right there into the groin. Get hit there, and that may be a distraction that sets up one of my takedowns. So I've got up and I've got down with that hand. Okay. My other hand, I don't want to spend too much time away from control of this wrist, but another possibility, if his face was up a little bit, would be to take the inside of my forearm and just drive that under his nose right here. Bang! If his head was higher, maybe even coming under the throat into the trachea. And immediately, as soon as I do that, I got to practice hit and then regain control here. Okay? So even if I do that and his arm starts to bend, then I can still hook in and control that arm again, but it's going to be a quick bang. Okay? Possibilities also exist that I might be able to do that with the elbow right there. Just a quick chopping elbow into, I'm keeping control here, bang, and then come back here. Okay? I could do that with my other elbow too. I might, if I think I can do that without losing control here, and just strike right into his elbow, into his tricep, bang, with that hand, and come back in. So my elbows might come into play, okay? So just getting the balance and just kind of feeling through, walking through these strikes. I know we're just kind of walking through them. Every one of these techniques we're talking about, whether it's elbows, whether it's knees, okay? Every one of these could be isolated and trained on its own. That's not the focus really of at least the fundamental edge weapon countermeasures course. But these strikes, trained or untrained, can be effective if I just do it with some good balance. Training and isolating them is something that we do in other modules of TriCom, particularly our natural impact weapons module, that you can find in some other videos. But at the very minimum, we're just trying to get an idea here of what I can do with regards to strikes to help set up different types of takedowns. Right, so add that to your training. Down. Full time out, push him to his head. Run, switch, hit, and then back, strike, bang.